Buyers start forming their opinions about your home almost instantly when they walk through the door, sometimes as fast as 30 seconds within being in your front door. Today we're going to talk about things as a buyer that you should focus on, that you should be noticing, and that may be things that are okay. Hi, my name is Danielle Waldera. I'm a realtor here in Harford County, Maryland, and today we're going to talk about home buyers. The first thing that's going to hit a buyer when they walk through the door is the way your house smells. There's a couple odors that are very off-putting to a lot of people. Some of those odors include cigarette smoke, pet odors, just general uncleanliness. I have a teenage boy. That odor is like, you can smell that from a mile away. So there's certain odors that buyers will smell right when they walk through the door, but you also don't want to put like a really strong air freshener right by your door to mix that smell with the unpleasant smell, because that's really all you're doing. You're just mixing two very unpleasant, strong smells. Talk with me about what the best way is to not just cover up the odors, but get rid of them. Do we need to do a vent cleaning? Do we need to do a deep clean on the carpet or the floors? Is it possible maybe for your pets to be living with a parent or a friend, during high traffic times? I've got, vendors that can maybe come help and walk your dog out for a couple of hours or air out the house for a couple of hours. Just things that can kind of help make the house naturally smell a little bit better instead of throwing really strong air fresheners everywhere, because people will notice that, and that will also be unpleasant. But the other thing people are going to notice the second they walk in is the cleanliness. So if it smells bad, they're going to think it's unclean. And then if it is visibly unclean, they're going to think it's unclean and it smells bad. And then they're going to think it's unkept. And then they're going to think you have bugs. And then, we go down rabbit holes. So really, cleanliness and smells are really important. Curb appeal matters a lot, especially this day and age. I find that, I'm just making this up, but I'm going with about 70% of my buyers really don't want a ton of yard work. They don't want to be spending hours and hours and hours of their weekend and free time outside. So they're busy, right? They have other schedules. They've got to take their kids here. They have their own hobbies they want to get done. Curb appeal is really important. You want it to be clean and tidy and neat, but also not overwhelming, right? You don't want it to be like rows and rows and rows of shrubbery and really like ornate things that people have to like trim and do and keep up with, because all that stuff is really pretty, but it's really pretty for like 14 days and then it looks all gnarly and stuff. So you just want something that's clean and simple and easy to maintain, and buyers will love that. They can mow a lawn, right? Everyone can mow a lawn. Everyone can like weed whack a little bit, but once they start getting in the weeds, so to speak, with like ponds and foliage and grasses and like indigenous trees and flowers, it's too much. It's a little overwhelming for them. Lighting is really important. When a buyer walks in, they want to feel like the space is open. They don't want to feel like it's dim or closed off. Dim lighting or improper lighting can also indicate a cleanliness issue, even if there isn't one. So even if the house is pretty clean, but it's a little dim and there's not enough lighting, or there isn't enough, airflow or natural lighting, not just lighting, but like natural lighting is really important. That can also make, turn a buyer off and make them feel like the house is closed in, or, people spend a lot more time at home. They work from home, they're schooling from home, they're working out at their gyms at home. Like, they're spending time at home. They want their house to feel cozy and naturally lit and not like a false light. It's too stark. Clutter kind of goes hand in hand with cleanliness, right? Because if your house is super cluttered, it cannot be as clean as you would want it. It just can't be. If there's stuff in every corner, if there's stuff all over, even if it's like organized clutter, but still way too much of it, you still can't clean the way you want to clean. So like even if it's just your bookshelves, right? And they're just full of stuff. Maybe you're a maximalist, which I think can be super cute. Maximalism can be super cute. But it's not cute if you can't like dust in between everything and get the cobwebs out, and like you'll get dust mites and stuff in there. It's not cute if you can't clean it. And if you're not being diligent about taking everything off your bookshelf and cleaning it and then putting it all back on like on a monthly basis, it's not clean. And then it'll look not clean. And I think clutter equates a lot to cleanliness, and it matters. Buyers notice the details. So let's say you just put down a beautiful LVP floor. It looks so good. But what you forgot to do is put the shoe molding all the way around. So like in some places, you can see the edge of the LVP. Maybe not everywhere, but in some places it's not butting right up to the wall the way it's supposed to, the way it should look. Little things like that go a long way, but also could have been so easily fixed. Pop on some quick shoe molding and it would have been taken care of, handled. You can even get it pre-painted so you don't have to paint it afterwards, right? Whatever works for you. But the tiny details, same thing with like grout, right? Your grout in your bathrooms, make sure it's clean. Make sure it's not, pitting out or getting moldy, or the silicone around your bathtub. That stuff gets moldy. It happens over time, right? It's normal. It gets moldy, but you need to redo it. Replace the shower curtain, redo the caulk around your tub, and make sure that there's nothing looking like moldy or gross, or it's those little things. Buyers will see that and they'll have like PTSD about some like experience with mold they had 10 years ago and think that they're gonna die. So just handle the little things up front. I see buyers make up their minds almost immediately all the time. And it's a really good feeling and it's good to see. And sometimes they feel nervous about it. So I had taken a new buyer out this past weekend, and she's a first-time buyer. And it was our first time out. And we saw a house and she fell in love with it. And she was like, okay, I want to come back again one more time, bring a friend, get some more insight. I'm like, that sounds like a great idea. So we did all that, and she was nervous to move forward because we had only really been out one time. And I was like, look, I'm not going to tell you what to do, right? This is your house to live in, not mine. You should be comfortable, right? I'm not going to pressure you. But if you're in love, don't make yourself feel like you haven't done enough due diligence, or you haven't seen enough, or, otherwise you're going to miss out on this house that you love. And then 5 times down the road, when we're still going out, you're going to be comparing houses to this house and wish you just would have moved forward. And sometimes we see a house, when it's the one, but also sometimes we're looking for unique properties. I helped a client once that I literally only showed one house to ever, and they bought it. And it was a really unique property. And it was like a Victorian style older house with a 3-car garage in the back of it in a very specific area that they wanted to be in. And they were like, we feel kind of silly, but we also know that this property is not going to come around often. So like, we just met, but we had trust in each other. This is the only house we've seen. But like, when you're ready, you're ready. Just trust your gut. Your gut is never going to steer you wrong. When you're ready, you're ready. Don't let your brain get in the way of your gut, because your gut is always right. And we're still going to go through processes, right? So don't be afraid. We're still going to go through inspections. We're still going to go through things that keep you protected, right? It's not like we put a contract in and if the sky is falling on this house, you have to buy it. Don't worry. You're protected. And if your gut says this is the one, fall in love. If you told me you had 8 hours to get your house ready, what should you focus on? I would tell you to clean. Clean like you've never cleaned before. Actually, don't clean. Hire a professional cleaner. That way, while they're cleaning, you can be working on the curb appeal and tidying up and reorganizing and purging some of your things. I always tell people, use your your unfinished spaces for just that. Use them as unfinished spaces. So if you have a garage or an unfinished basement and you're feeling stressed about where to put things, put them there. Put them in those places. It's okay. It's okay if your garage has things other than garage things in it or other than a car. That is a place of storage. And it is supposed to be a place of storage. So if you're feeling nervous, like you don't know where you're going to end up next, you don't know what you should get rid of, you're not sure if you want to keep this dresser or give it away, don't stress. Pop it in a place that is already unfinished, in a place of already storage area. We'll work through that. Keep the main house purged, organized, clean, ready. And when someone pops into your garage, I can guarantee you the first thing they're going to say is not going to be, ew, why is there a dresser in the garage? Nobody uses their garage anyway. Like, that's legit. It's Maryland. People park in the driveway or on the street. We use our garages for storage. That's what Marylanders do. Thanks for watching. If you learned a little bit today and liked what you saw, like, comment, share, and continue and stay with me for the next video.